Hello, I am Paolo. I am the Master of Ceremonies here at IICSR, and I can't wait to have you here to learn together how to learn sustainability and make this planet better. Come to see how beautiful is the place where you're going to be.
Amazing. I wanted to build a more inclusive world. That's why I joined IICSR.
Hi, I'm Veenu Tiwari. I have joined IICSR postgraduate course on CSR and sustainability. I wanted to learn about ESG, CSR, and SDGs. IICSR has the best faculty for this course.
Shadi, the air quality index in Delhi is 216 today. It's the worst possible air quality index.
That's really too much, and we all have to do something to climate change.
We all want to build a sustainable and inclusive world, and IICSR is the only place which is training you all. Come join us.
Will AI take your job away? This is why.
Hello, I am Paolo. I am the Master of Ceremonies here at IICSR, and I can't wait to have you here to learn together how to learn sustainability and make this planet better. Come to see how beautiful is the place where you're going to be.
Amazing. I wanted to build a more inclusive world. That's why I joined IICSR.
Hi, I'm Veenu Tiwari. I have joined IICSR postgraduate course on CSR and sustainability. I wanted to learn about ESG, CSR, and SDGs. IICSR has the best faculty for this course.
Shadi, the air quality index in Delhi is 216 today. It's the worst possible air quality index.
That's really too much, and we all have to do something to climate change.
We all want to build a sustainable and inclusive world, and IICSR is the only place which is training you all. Come join us.
Hello, I am Paolo. I am the Master of Ceremonies here at IICSR, and I can't wait to have you here to learn together how to learn sustainability and make this planet better. Come to see how beautiful is the place where you're going to be.
Amazing. I wanted to build a more inclusive world. That's why I joined IICSR.
Hi, I'm Veenu Tiwari. I have joined IICSR postgraduate course on CSR and sustainability. I wanted to learn about ESG, CSR, and SDGs. IICSR has the best faculty for this course.
Shadi, the air quality index in Delhi is 216 today. It's the worst possible air quality index.
That's really too much, and we all have to do something to climate change.
We all want to build a sustainable and inclusive world, and IICSR is the only place which is training you all. Come join us.
Hi, I'm very happy that IICSER is coming out with a postgraduate program on CSR and sustainability. Since CSR has become mandatory in India and the need to achieve sustainable development goals, there has been a tremendous increase in the number of opportunities in this sector. But it's also a fact that there is dearth of candidates with the requisite skills. I'm sure that this postgraduate program by IICSR, which is also supported by a network of veteran CSR practitioners and professionals, will be able to bridge this gap. I recommend this course for all the candidates who want to enter the CSR and sustainability sector. Wishing the program all success. Thank you.
As you already know, we don't have a planet B. We can't continue to do business as usual. Responsible business is the answer. But where do we get these leaders for the future? IICSR is the place.
Hello, I am Professor Dr. Michael Hopkins. I'm working on corporate social responsibility and sustainability for probably the last 30 years. I've worked right across the world, including in wonderful India, which is taking a lead in some ways in the area of corporate social responsibility. I tend to take a systems approach when I look at corporate social responsibility in the teachings that I do, and I hope that will also be followed at the Indian Institute of CSR, led by the wonderful Harsha Mukherjee, where you can get the education and skills necessary to branch out and work in this area across India, but right across the world. A very growing field, also comes under different terminology, responsibility, ESG, and you'll see right across the world that it's quite famous. I cover some of these issues in my latest book, which will be, I'm sure, available on the course that will be run by IICSR. Hope you enjoy it, and I hope I can see you on that course at some time. Very good luck. Goodbye.
Namaskar and hello everyone. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India, and Section 135 of the Companies Act has mandated corporates to implement CSR activities in the country. So naturally, there's a huge requirement currently for CSR and sustainability professionals to be absorbed by corporates, NGOs, and other such stakeholders in the space. I'm extremely glad to see IICSR take the lead to start a graduate program on CSR and sustainability, which is the absolute need of the hour, as there's a huge shortage of good and qualified CSR and sustainability professionals in this country. I strongly recommend this course.
Hello,
Hello.
Harsha, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi. Finally, I can hear you and I can see you. And thank you
Yes.
so very much for yeah. Thank you so very much for joining, and good evening to all our viewers today. We have a very special guest today, a very esteemed women leader in the space of sustainable development and CSR, all the way from Latin America. She has done a master's in environment and development, graduated from LSC with 13 years of experience in sustainability management in private sector, governmental institution, and international cooperation in Latin America and Caribbean. She's also speaker at national and international level, both in the academic field and high-level platforms such as World Resources Forum, Geneva, 2021 and 2017, International Congress of Association of Latin American Studies, Barcelona, the 9th Latin American Congress on Politic Sciences, the International Conference on Interdisciplinary Social Sciences, where she received the Graduate Scholar Award in London 2016. we all would like to welcome you, Sandra. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the invitation, Harsha. It's a pleasure to share with you.
Pleasure having you with us. Sandra, you have been passionate about environment science since the start of your career. It has been more than a decade of your service towards a responsible business leadership. How has your journey been?
Well, thank you for the question. Indeed, I started my career in the field of conflict situations related to mining industry in Peru. That was my first approach to the sustainability area. And what I started like understanding was the need for a more responsible management system in different economic and productive areas such as mining and extractive industries. And at the beginning, my passion was the analysis of socio-environmental conflicts. However, when I started understanding deeper the drivers of conflict situations, I noticed that there were many environmental, social, and economic issues at the base of the conflicts that were needed to address before manage these conflicts. So that's why I became more interested in the field of the responsible management or the sustainability management. At the beginning, CSR. I have been working with many companies on the consulting area, with cooperation agencies, the governments, in order to help the companies to have a better footprint in their operations, the field, the society, and also the environment. So that has been my main field of interest for the past decade. And well, later I became like more aware about the sustainable finance area, because after I noticed that there was a need to improvement of practices in the social and environmental areas, I noticed also that there was a great need of finance, of funds for implementing these projects or investments. So that's why I became connected with the sustainable finance area, and now that's my field. So that's, I think, a brief resume of the journey.
Wow, wonderful. Very inspirational. So, when you joined the sector, what did you want to change when you started, and what is the development of that for now?
Mhm. Yeah, what I think is interesting of the consulting role is the capacity of advocacy with private companies to understand the bigger picture, the climate crisis, the climate also opportunity for new business models. I think that that's the main area of potential change that we have with the responsible business, and the responsible leadership in this area is the key, because if the head of the companies, the CEO of the board of directors do not understand like their role in this area, it will be really difficult to achieve any change. So I think that's my main interest, to change the mind of the leaders of the key companies in Latin America, and what I have been like working hard during the past years to achieve this mindset, and also to put some new topics on agenda in Latin America, since Latin America is also always on the expectation of what is happening in Europe and in the United States, or in the north of the world.
Okay. So I'm sure that a lot of changes have happened now. Now, in Latin America, where are there any CSR or ESG laws enforced by the government?
Hmm. The main ESG laws are related to the environmental and social compliance across the Latin America countries. I think that's the main improvement during the past, I don't know, 3 decades. The environmental and social law for any kind of operations has been improving. However, if we talk about CSR or responsible business, or for example climate change disclosure, this is just starting in Latin America. Some countries have defined some regulations concerning disclosure of ESG issues or matters, but it's just starting especially in leading countries such as Mexico, Colombia, Chile, but the rest of countries are just beginning in this journey.
Okay, that's very good to learn because I'm sure that most of them would follow the trend. Now, recently ESG has come into forefront. What is the response in Latin America, and do investors request the companies for the same?
Yes, I think that ESG is in the top of mind of most leading companies. However, it's also it has been also considered like a threat, no? Because everything is ESG, and at the end we have the challenge of greenwashing really close. So I think that Latin America ESG is in the top of mind. However, there is a need of a broader understanding of what ESG means as an opportunity for the improvement of the sustainability management of these companies.
Okay, and so now that they have started asking you, uh, you have also worked a lot in the space of environment and biodiversity by being with the American Bar Association's Rule of Law Initiative and MIC with addressing biodiversity, social conflict in Latin America project. Now, what are the challenges and solutions you observed, and you could share with us some case studies that would really help us to understand what is the ground situation?
I think the main challenge is the role of the government, because governmental stability in Latin America is very complex, and that's the main limitation to define a strong strategy to address socio-environmental conflicts, and also to provide a clear roadmap for different industries. So I think that's the main limitation and constraint, and the main challenge of this kind of projects. In the case of socio-environmental conflicts, I think that that's the main issue behind this problem in Latin America. But on the other side, I think that there is a greater knowledge in the civil society, a greater participation of different local stakeholders, and that's also a great advantage of the current situation.
Okay. Now, which projects, according to you, could be scaled up by more of partnerships and collaborations which are successful in Latin America?
Sorry, I didn't
I would
got
like
it
to
at the
repeat.
same.
Which projects, according to you, could be scaled up by partnerships and collaborations which are successful in Latin America?
Mhm. I think that the collaboration between different stakeholders is just the key for sustainability strategies. well, I consider that the collaboration between the governments and the companies is, we can imagine that it's obvious, but it's not necessarily the reality. And well, I think that in sustainability, nothing will be achieved only by one stakeholder. The governments are not able to achieve it alone anything, and the same the companies. So I think that the collaboration between both parties is like essential to achieve this kind of strategies.
Okay, would you give me a case study of a project which has been very successful in Latin America and that could be scaled up globally?
Well, I think one interesting project that I had the chance to participate was the agenda of climate change between the United Nations and different countries, particularly in Peru. And the collaboration in this case was essential between different industries to understand how they could define a mitigation and adaptation path on the long term. This is a really long process. However, I think that the collaboration in this kind of initiatives is the key for success. This project was scaled to Latin America, and then different industries defined like viable strategies to mitigate the climate change in their operations, and also the share of knowledge between countries is essential. I think both angles of work are very important, not only the collaboration between the private and public, but also the share of knowledge between countries, because these topics are really new.
Okay, perfect. Now, would you like to share about your role as ESG and Sustainable Finance Consulting Partner with ERM? And what is the exact job role of this position?
Yes, well, I joined ERM as a partner like 3 months ago. I am really brand new at ERM, and well, after this journey of understanding the environmental and social performance of companies in Latin America, and also the sustainable finance expectations, there is an important increase of the expectations from investors. So my role now is to connect the great environmental projects that ERM already have on board with the key expectations of the investors and also the funds delivered for sustainability, and also to strengthen the sustainable and ESG issues and practices across Latin America. So now I am working in different countries and also putting some topics on agenda, such as decarbonization, biodiversity and nature, and how these topics are connected with the responsible business strategies, especially in sectors and industries that are required to transition to a net zero strategy of business.
Wonderful. Would you share one example of a company working towards achieving the net zero, and what are the activities that they have to do in order to achieve the target of net zero?
Well, for example, in Latin America, I think we are in the step of most leading companies are committing with net zero, but very short of them really know how they will get that result of that achievement. The steps and the procedures to get there are just been defined, but some of the leading companies. So one key step in this process is to define the climate strategy. I think that's the main the main beginning of a net zero pathway, in order to understand how the procedures within the company should change in order to for example, identify new technologies that are required to be incorporated in the operations, and also the supply chain, and also energy efficiency and other aspects of the climate area. So the definition of these topics and the elaboration of a climate strategies like the key step for any company in the pathway to zero. And then after having this strategy defined, what they have to do is to look for investors and funding in order to implement these projects and at the end achieve this result. So I think that's the main process that some leading companies in Latin America are just starting to understand and see how to implement.
Okay, so why do they have to raise the funds from outside? What are the initiatives that they take internally in the company in order to achieve the net zero?
Well, as I mentioned, internally the main area is to define how they will decarbonize, because in some cases the internal operations or the internal management does not have like a great impact on greenhouse emissions. In some cases, it's more related to the biodiversity or the impact in nature or the ecosystems around the operation. So I think that the mapping of risk within and outside operations is the most important step to define how you will be engaged with climate change, and also see in your value chain. For example, if we are talking about an industry, how the value chain is also impacted, and also can be an opportunity for the value chain to be more resilient to the climate change risk. So I think that not only internal but also around the operations, there is a great need to understand the risk, the mitigation plan, and also the new technologies that are required to be implemented in different steps of the operation.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. That's the supply change, decarbonization are some of the main areas that they do look at while achieving the net zero. My next question to you would be, you have also been an academician with Pontificia Universidad Católica de Peru, and IICSR is an education and advisory institution. What are the knowledge gaps, being in academics as well as in practicing it, that you have observed that we could bridge for the existing workforce and the upcoming ones to build up responsible business leadership?
Mhm. Yeah, well, I think that the main potential of the connection with academy is that precisely the possibility to influence future leaders that will become part of the companies. So at the end, from my students, most of them nowadays are working in the leading companies of Peru, and that's interesting because the knowledge that you acquire as a student can be really can make a difference in your career pathway. So I think that there is a gap of information and knowledge in different careers concerning sustainability. Not all the careers are learning about sustainability, but sustainability is transversal. So in my case, I teach in the communication for development career, which is my profession. However, there is a need on other careers, such I think all careers should study a sustainability course. I think that would be a really interesting change for the operations later, no? Because they at the end work together, and if for example the head of operations had a different curriculum of studies, never heard about sustainability. That's why we start having so much trouble with the coordination between areas. So I think that's an interesting opportunity for education in general on this topic.
Excellent. That's a great insight. Now, it has been wonderful talking to you and learning more about the initiatives at Latin America. Would you share a message with our existing viewers and the ones who would watch the recorded session so that they can learn more about Latin America and responsible business leadership tips?
Well, yes, I think that Latin America is a great area to work about sustainability because I think that the great potential that we have right now is our rich biodiversity. Latin America is an area of wow, incredible potential for the nature preservation and conservation. I think that's the future. While we have to worry about the greenhouse emissions in the north of the world, I think in the south we need to preserve ecosystems and biodiversity as well. So I think that there is a great potential in this area of work, and I think also the upcoming projects and investments will come in that area of it's so important for the region.
Okay. Any tips that you would like to share with our viewers to achieve responsible business leadership?
Well, I think just to share that ERM has a think tank that share frequently trends on sustainability in different continents and sectors. This is like a think tank initiative. The webpage is sustainability.com, and we can access to really interesting topics and material that can be of help for any professional working in sustainability. So I invite you to visit this webpage and have advantage of that material.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much, Sandra, for your time and sharing all about Latin America and responsible business leadership on our show. It has been an honor to have you with us.
Thank you for the invitation, and sorry for the technology issues.
No problem. Thank you so